Good morning, everybody. It is a kind of a misty, overcast morning, which is really beautiful, but it's not cold. So I'm able to be out here without a jacket on, and so that's nice. I love the fall weather and the very cozy stuff, but I don't want to be so cold that it's uncomfortable to come sit on the porch. So right now, perfect. I am going to bring you along on a what I eat in a day video. I'm going to do blood sugar. I just got a new order of blood sugar strips, glucose strips from Care yesterday. They came in. So I am able to do blood sugar for my meals. We have a visitor. This is Kronk. This is one of our 2 new kittens on the farm. Kronk, say good morning. He is the sweetest, most loving, and stupidest and most playful kitten I have ever met. He is like ridiculous, like jumping and flopping around on his back and pouncing, and he's so funny. He's such a doofus. So his name is Kronk, and his brother's name is Cusco. Comment below if you know what that's from. All right, go play, go find some ice or something. But they are the sweetest. His brother Cusco is a lot more reserved, and he will warm up to you, but it takes a little bit more work. Kronk is like, I'm your best friend, give me all the attention. And Cusco's like, you got to work for my affection. It's really funny. They're so different in their personalities, but the 2 of them together are just absolutely adorable. So I took my fasting blood sugar this morning, and I will put that in here, and then I am going to have my first meal of the day. It's usually like a snack. I kind of don't count it as a meal. It's kind of like half of my breakfast, and then I go work out because I don't want to eat like a bunch right when I wake up, right before my workout. So I just have kind of a little snack. Just so I'm not fasting too long. I'm trying not to do that for cortisol reasons. I want to bring my cortisol down first thing in the morning. So I am having my little snack. It is one banana with some blackberries on top. I'm going to enjoy that. And then I also have my coffee, which is made with my dairy-free creamer. I have a video on my dairy-free creamer. Kronk is being loud and doing crazy things over there. I have a video on my dairy-free creamer. I will link up below. I may try to mix up some more today because I just used the last of it in this. So if I do that today, I will show you that when I do it. He wants to go be crazy, and then he wants more love and attention. And then he wants to go be crazy and then get more love and attention. That's his life. That's his entire life. Okay, go be crazy. Okay, I did have a question that I wanted to respond to. I actually got it a while back, and I've been meaning to respond to it, and here we go, finally doing it. It was just basically asking about, do I find it annoying having to eat so often? And the comment said eat every 2 hours, which, I do eat every 2 hours sometimes, but not all the time. That's a little bit of an exaggeration. So I wanted to talk about the frequency of meals. And first off, I'll say it's a little bit annoying, but not that big of a deal. So when I do the fruit fasting, usually meals don't last more than 2 hours, but I'm not doing that all day long. I'm usually having my first protein meal around noon, somewhere between noon and 3 p.m. And so, then I don't eat every 2 hours. I'll eat every, 3 or 4 hours-ish after that. So I do have to be mindful when I am in that fruit fasting morning time to have food with me if I'm going somewhere, or just be prepared to be hungry again in a couple of hours. But really, that's not that big of a deal. And I will say that I have never been one, when I was on keto and carnivore, that found intermittent fasting comes naturally. A lot of people say they just don't get hungry, and it just happens that they don't eat until 1 p.m., 2 p.m. I'm not even hungry. I have never been that way. Never. And I had always hoped I was. I was, going to do the things to make myself that way, and it never happened. I tried intermittent fasting, 1 meal a day. I did 20-hour fasts every day and had a 4-hour eating window for a solid month. I never adjusted. I hated it. I didn't lose a single pound. It was horrible. So I have just never been one that has that reaction to keto carnivore where you lose your appetite. And when I was on keto and carnivore, I was drinking more coffee, more because I felt like I needed it or I craved it more. Now I have my 1 cup of coffee in the morning and I really don't crave it the rest of the day. And typically I only have the 1 cup. It's like half of this is the amount of coffee I have per day now, just because that's the amount I want. When I was on keto and carnivore, I wanted a lot more. So I would get up and have coffee first thing without eating. And then a couple hours later, I'd be hungry. By 10 a.m., I am always hungry. Oh my goodness. By 10 a.m., I'm always hungry. And so I would eat breakfast at that point. And then I'd want another coffee around 11 a.m. So I'd eat, and then a little while later, I'd want another coffee. And then I would have lunch, maybe like 1 p.m. And then some days I would have an afternoon coffee too at 2 p.m. I usually try not to do it, have a coffee after 3. So anyways, if you count those coffees as meals, which, going and grabbing a piece of fruit versus brewing a cup of coffee, I mean, it's not like it's that much more work. So I was having intake just as often when I was on keto and carnivore. It has not really changed that drastically. And since I'm not having to cook a meal, just, go grab a banana or a handful of dates or a handful of figs or something like that, it's really not that big of a deal. And it's not something that I'm not used to. It's not like I went from never being hungry and eating every 6 hours on carnivore to now eating every 2 or 3 or 4 hours. There's very little difference now versus what I was doing before. Real quick, before we get into the rest of the meals, it is starting to, the wind is starting to blow. It might actually rain. Whoa, like a warm summer rain, it seems like. Anyways, before we get into the rest of the meals for the day, I want to say thank you to Element, who is sponsoring the video today. I love Element. I loved Element on keto and carnivore. I love Element now on high carb. My family loves Element. Element is an electrolyte supplement that we use every single day. And actually, my husband this past week just climbed Mount Adams here in Washington, not in Oregon, in Washington. And he has attempted to climb Mount Adams. I think this was his 4th time. And this is the first time he made it to the summit. And there are a lot of factors involved, but he specifically said that his electrolyte supplementation was a big factor, and he credits that as part of the reason that he was actually able to make it to the top this time. So that was a big victory, and just another one of those ways that we use Element electrolytes in our everyday life. It is great for athletes and mountain climbers and people really, really exerting themselves, but then it's also great for stay-at-home moms who just want to feel hydrated throughout the day, like me. So if you want to try out Element and see if it might be right for you, you can get a free sample pack just by using my link, drinkelement.com/indigo, drinklmnt.com/indigo. Click the link. There's a clickable one down in the description. Place an order for anything on the website, and you will automatically get that free sample pack added to your order that has 2 sticks of each of their 4 most popular fruit flavors for you to try or maybe pass on to a friend. Thanks again to Element for sponsoring the video today, and you need more attention. You need more attention. Come here. Everyone give him attention. He's dying for attention before he runs off and does something crazy again. Attention, attention, attention. I'm going to do a quick step workout to get some steps in. I'm still a little bit sore from my last strength training workout, so just going to do some cardio today. I love C. Dorner Fitness. I've talked about her so many times. I do her workouts nearly every day. So good. Highly recommended. I will put her up in the cards. And I do have my EMR Tech red light on over there. I like to turn that on when I'm looking at a screen to balance things out with some red and near infrared light. And then I also brought my blood sugar stuff up so that I could test my blood sugar at 1 hour after my meal. Of course, when you exercise, especially with cardio, that's going to bring, well, sometimes it can make blood sugar go up initially, and then it usually brings your blood sugar back down. So that's something to keep in consideration when we're looking at post-meal numbers. 1 hour after eating and directly after exercising, 94. I got my shower and my red light therapy done, and this is 2 hours post fruit bowl, 1 hour post exercise. For the second half of my breakfast, I'm going to have about 2 ounces of figs, about 2 ounces of dates. I was about to make my dairy-free creamer mix when I realized I still had a bag of it already mixed up in the pantry, but I did pull out all the ingredients to show you how I make it. When I first made the video on it, I had certain ratios of each of these 3 items, and I found later on that it tasted just as good if I did 1-to-1-to-1 ratio of all 3 by weight. So that just made it simpler when I was mixing it up. Dumping a pound of each one, mix it up, and you're good. So I use Custom Collagen for just plain collagen. You can use any brand of plain collagen. I like Perfect Keto and Equip and Marigold Foods for their flavored collagens. They're really yummy, but for plain collagen, I want a good quality product, but I want it to be as cheap as possible. And I find that Custom Collagen in this big pack is the cheapest option for me. And then I use the Micro Ingredients brand MCT oil powder. Again, I like the flavored MCT oil powders from Perfect Keto, but for plain, this is cheaper. So I go with the Micro Ingredients, and this one is super, super creamy. There are some MCT oil powders that are really bad. I think I tried Anthony's brand off of Amazon one time. It was terrible. I think I ended up throwing away the bag because it was just not creamy and not good. This one is delicious. And then I also use the Micro Ingredients coconut milk powder. This one is also very good. So I just do the 1-to-1-to-1 ratio of that, mix it up, and it's good to go. And actually the collagen in there helps these 2 other items mix in really, really easily. So it dissolves really easily. If you leave out the collagen doesn't make it creamy. You do get the nutrient boost, from the collagen, but it's not for making it creamy, but I still put it in, mostly because I want the other stuff to mix in and dissolve easily. And for whatever reason, mixing up the collagen with it just makes it all mix in really well. So stocked up and ready to go. And I was going to mention also that if you ever have tried the Keto Brains creamer, this tastes very, very similar. Of course, you're not getting the adaptogens, mushrooms and stuff that the Keto Brains comes with. But if you like the flavor of that, this is going to be really close. 1 hour after the dates and figs, I'm at 125. 2 hours after the dates and figs, 99. I grabbed these butternut squash zigzags from Trader Joe's the other day, and I'm going to get those cooked up. I am going to do some air fryer veggies, kind of like roasted veggies. I have some Brussels sprouts and some bell peppers, and then I don't think I'm going to use these peas, but I had thrown this half of a zucchini in here. I'm going to cut that up and throw it in, and then I'm going to air fry all of that. I'll probably toss it with about a teaspoon or so of coconut oil and some spices and hope that everything cooks around the same amount of time. The Brussels sprouts, I worry are going to take a little bit longer than everything else, but we'll see how it goes. And then I grabbed some shrimp out of the freezer. I think I'm going to coat this with, I like to do some Greek yogurt, coat it with Greek yogurt, and then some sweet potato starch or sweet potato flour, depending on what brand you get, with some spices, of course. And the Greek yogurt makes the breading stick to the shrimp. And instead of using an egg or milk or cream base type thing to toss it in before you toss it into the flour mixture. So I'm going to do that and then air fry that. So it'll be kind of like breaded shrimp. So I'm gonna throw all this stuff together and then I'll show you when it's ready. So here's the shrimp before cooking. That's what the sweet potato flour / starch looks like. I'll link to that in the description. I get it off of Amazon. So I just rolled it in some of the 2% Greek yogurt and then tossed it in here. And I'm gonna air fry it. It would come out looking nicer and browner if I coated it in oil, but I have already used my fat allotment on the vegetables, so I'm just going to cook it like this, and it won't look as pretty, but it'll still taste good. Waiting for my food to cook, but I'm going to go ahead and start sipping on my kombucha that I'm going to have with my lunch. Okay, so here's my massive bowl of vegetables with my little bit of shrimp. It was 5 ounces of shrimp before cooked, and it ended up being very lightly coated in the starch because they were frozen, and I tossed them in the Greek yogurt, and then I didn't quickly enough put them into the starch, and so the Greek yogurt froze on there, so it didn't pick up a lot of the starch when I tossed it. So anyways, very lightly coated in the starch, and then I have just some barbecue sauce on the side for dipping, and of course the rest of my kombucha. 1 hour after roasted veggies and shrimp. 90. 2 hours post meal. 90. It's almost 6 o'clock, and we are having a little get together. I put together a charcuterie board, cheese, pepperoni, crackers, veggies, hummus, and this is what I put together for myself. I've got some rice tamari crackers, some veggies, and hummus with some Kalamata olives and a kombucha. Good morning. It is the next day and I'm about to go to exercise class, so all ready to head out. But I wanted to check in about last night. So we had our get together and I fully expected that, because I had my, bigger protein meal around 2 or 2:30. I thought by about 5 I'd be ready for a meal and I'd eat, and then we'd have our get together at 6. I got busy. I wasn't actually hungry by 5, and I didn't end up eating a meal at that point. And so then while we had our get together, I ate some of the snacks like I showed you. Beyond what I showed you, I had a handful of grapes. And so I ended up with a pretty low protein count because I was expecting to have that second meal that would have had protein in there. The day just didn't turn out the way I anticipated. So I will put the macros, how it ended up, on the screen at the end. I've been trying to get to that 80 grams at least of protein per day, if not, 100 or so, and didn't quite hit it on this one. And it was just, the way the day turned out. But I wasn't hungry. That was another thing. I talked to you guys in a few videos ago about weight loss and how I kind of see weight loss working. I don't think that I'll be able to keep my calories really high and continue to lose weight. I think getting my calories high as I have over the last several months helps boost my metabolism. And once my body is ready to start burning the excess fat and actually releasing it, I think my appetite should go down and that the calories will come down as a result of the appetite going down. So it's kind of like a chicken and an egg thing. Do we reduce calories to burn the fat, or does our body start burning, like being comfortable and ready and starting to burn the fat, cause the appetite to go down and the calories to go down? And I'm kind of banking on the second option. So I'm not worried about my calories being lower since I wasn't hungry and, I'm doing all of the things to keep my metabolism high. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you again in the next one.